love that song. Good morning. My name is Melanie. I am your sub today for Reverend Ellen, who is taking the Sunday off. I'm also your prayer ministry leader and UCR's program director. And I'm glad to see all of y'all today. What a beautiful May morning it is. Now, we always like to start our Sunday morning service with prayer. And I carry around this card from Christopher Chenoweth, Reverend Chris, who was a part of Unity Village for many years. And in 2000, this man who could barely turn on a computer started an online ministry called Positive Christianity, which helps millions of people, ministers, regular people like us, every year with prayers, with videos. And this is just his Expect a Miracle prayer. And this is the card he gave me when he came to visit us the last time at Amran. And so this is the prayer I want to share today. So let's just gently close our eyes and let my words be your words. Expect a miracle. I set God before me this day to guide, to govern, to protect, and to prosper me. The Spirit of the Lord goes before me and makes easy and successful my way. By God's perfect help, I am guided to where I need to be, and I am bountifully blessed. God is working in the midst of me, mighty to heal. I am quickened, renewed, and made whole. The divine love of God guides my actions and reactions, bountifully creating an atmosphere of harmony and understanding. In Jesus Christ's name, God makes me healthy, happy, and vitally alive. And so it is. Amen. Beautiful. So, the year I turned 15 and got my learner's permit, my mom created a driving trek across the country to her hometown of Seattle, Washington. Of course, I could drive now. So when the summer came, we put my 14-year-old brother on an airplane to go to a Boy Scout camp out west. We tucked my 4-year-old sister in the back seat, and we 3 gals jumped in the car and started driving. Now, before we left, everybody said, you have to go see the petroglyphs in Utah. Petroglyphs? Well, petroglyphs are these amazing prehistoric rock drawings done by the Native Americans. They're supposed to be wonderful. And my mom is, sure. So we detour. We detour to Utah, and we spend the night in this cow town. Now, my mom comes from a long line of cattle and sheep ranchers in Wyoming and Montana, and a cow town is a dusty crossroads out in the boonies of the Wild West with one beat-up motel, one fabulous truck stop diner, and 2 saloons. It's always that place. So we check into the motel, and then we jump back in the car, and we drive off to find the petroglyphs. And we drive an hour down this potholed little highway deep into the desert. And then we see the sign, and we turn left, and we drive for 30 minutes down this washboard, rutted dirt road. We park the car at the sign, and then we hike 20 minutes up this steep trail with a 4-year-old. And finally, at the top, ta-da, petroglyphs. And they are amazing. There are these huge rocks with all of these etchings, thousands of years old. Now, the spiral nautilus, that signifies cosmic energy. And a wavy line is water. Now, the swastika in Native American culture actually symbolizes well-being. And the roadrunner is a symbol of mental acuity and speed. So it was really cool, and we loved it, but we had to laugh. And we laughed all the way down that 20-minute hike, and we laughed down the rutted dirt road for 30 minutes, and we laughed on the hour drive back to the motel, and we laughed as we parked the car, and we walked over to the vacant lot next door. It is vacant because it is full of huge rocks covered with petroglyphs. Yes, we saw them when we left. we just didn't know what we were looking at. Now, it was crazy. Now, how often does this happen to us? How often do we know exactly what we want? We know our heart's desires, but we don't recognize it when it finally shows up. What I love about our Unity faith walk is that it teaches us that peace, love, joy, hope, and meaning, they aren't out there. They begin here in thought and in our heart, right? But what I also know is that when I'm looking for peace, love, joy, hope, and meaning, I can always find it here at this church with my family, because I know that every time I come through those doors, I'm going to see compassion. I'm going to feel hope. I'm going to find support. And so I thank you for being that kind of church home for me. And so now, why don't we welcome our guest today? Amy, if you want to just wave. Amy's the first timer with us today. We're glad you are here. And why don't we get up? This is our time to get up and run around the room and say good morning to each other. Fun. I love this song.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you. I recognize the God in you.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together. In the name of love.
We come together.
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 In the name
of love.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Take a look at the person next to you.
Say God loves you and I love you too.
God loves you and I love you too.
Now feel the love in the sanctuary.
I feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
We come together.
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 We come together. In the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together. In the name of love.
We come together.
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 We come together. In the name of love.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
Come together.
We come together.
Come together. In the name of love.
Okay, if we are ready to come together, if you'll all take your seats, we can begin. All right. One thing Melanie did not tell you about those petroglyphs, and I know this because I'm a scientist, that is the first place that they have ever seen Sea Rock City in the United States. That's a little joke. And Melanie asked that let me see. Here it is. Yeah. Boy, thank goodness. My name is Doug. And that's a good way to remind everyone to put your name tags on so you remember who you are. And so I remember who you are too. Anyway, I'm your platform leader today. I can assure you that the jokes will not get any better. So let us start our intention today by affirming our statement of work. Together, please. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life and affairs, God the good. And we are now pleased to welcome our spiritual community voice, Shawnice Smith. Shawnice?
Good morning, guys. Ooh. So first I want to say that, being the community voice, I'm supposed to share how Unity has changed our life, and Unity changed my life completely. I couldn't pick out a story this week. It was really, really, really hard to pick out one story that really fit all the things that unity has meant to me on my journey since I've been a member here, but I've got a few that kind of stuck out. I remember when I first started coming to Unity, and I remember coming from a traditional church, and I remember thinking the hand movements we did at the end must be a cult. I remember, right, the affirmations, even though they didn't seem like affirmations at the time, but the statements that we would say and calling ourselves gods, must be a cult. But just all these things from my traditional background, it was really rubbing up against them. But there was one thing that remained true about this space and this community was love. It didn't matter what was the doing that was happening. I always felt loved here. I always felt accepted here. I would get the best hugs. I learned how to become a hugger here, in a safe place to hug. And so even though I was wondering in the back of my head, is this what pastors always been warning us about? Are these the people that I should be worried against? But like I said, the more I came, the more the truth, the big truth stuck out more than that, which was the good feeling that I had when I was here and the good mental space that it put me in. And so I also started Unity while my daughter was in cancer treatment. So it was right on time because I wanted our experience, and I wanted her to kind of be in a bubble of safety, a bubble of joy, and not just negativity that I thought may come from other places. So let's see. So like I was sharing, the best thing about Unity was just the good feelings that I always felt. Always had great interactions with the people at church. There weren't any surface. I realized that I wasn't really good at, what's it called? Yeah, how'd you know, Ruth? Yes, I wasn't good at small talk, and I didn't have to do that here. We talked about real life. We talked about deep things. There weren't just kind of this surface thing about how you look today and how you showed up at church today and how's your car doing and things like that. We got deep and we got to the roots of things, and I love that here. And so truth won out. And so I became a member. And so from my traditional church upbringing, I definitely thought originally that my daughter's diagnosis of cancer and then her transition was my fault. I had done something bad, and this was my punishment. And that's how I thought for a very long time. And even after she transitioned, I thought that it was my punishment for a sin I had committed long ago, for something that I didn't do right. And I learned from being in Unity, and thank God that I learned that I call her my Jesus baby, because she came that I would have life more abundantly, not the other way around, not that I would not enjoy my life any longer. So 5 years ago, I also had my first panic attack. So I'm not sure, well, if you have never had one, and for those of you who know me, may be a little surprised that Shanice would have a panic attack because I'm usually in good spirits, right? And sometimes that's kind of the mystery behind panic attacks is you can be in such a good place at one time, and then months later, weeks later, not so much of a great place. So it was right after my daughter had passed, and we were packing up to move to Wilmington. And I was packing, and I was organizing in my head, doing the things that nurturers do, thinking about what to be packed, what needs to be thrown away, what needs to go where, and I got very overwhelmed. And my husband had declared that he was not helping because he thought we should bring nothing. And I was holding on to all the stuff, shocker, right? I didn't want to get rid of anything. And so I got very overwhelmed because I had to pack it all, and I had to pack it all by myself. And so those thoughts just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And before I knew it, I couldn't breathe, right? The hyperventilating starts. And so I was like, okay, I must need air. I must need some air. So I go outside, and it doesn't get any better. The hyperventilating gets bigger. The thoughts get bigger. The worries get bigger and bigger, to the point where I was just standing outside, frozen in one space. And I remember having an experience of just light coming upon me, and then the lovely affirmation that we use was the only thing that I could remember, which was, there is only one presence and power in the universe and in my life and affairs, God the good. And that is what saved me. That's what brought me back. And so it's my affirmation that I use whenever things get super rough. It's the one that kind of brings me back and reminds me of all the good that's available. And that it's all there, and I just need to take a few extra moments to realize it, or to get into it, or just stay where I am and feel what I'm feeling and let it take its course. So yes, so I learned so much from Unity, and I appreciate all the love that I constantly receive from you guys. So thank you.
I didn't get my hug. Thank you. Thank you, Shawnice, and thank you for that hug. I hugged everybody, but I didn't hug Shawnice this morning. Boy, and I was missing that. I really was. Okay, and now it is time for our band, featuring Greg, Alan, Peggy, and Susan. Take it away, guys.
My inner voice tells me to love when I am scared. It sings to me, reminds me to care. My inner voice soothes my heart when I've been hurt. It lifts me up when I fall into the dirt. I know I must listen to the voice inside. It never fails to do me good. I listen to the voice inside. It never fails to do me good. I thought I was crazy, but it leads me to my purpose and all the strength it feeds me. It brings me clarity and hope for the future. It gives me strength and wisdom and hope It never fails to do me good.
Thank you. Susan, that was just beautiful. We loved it. And Shawnees, thank you for your presentation. We love and appreciate your sparkly self. So I have good news and I have some not so good news. The good news is our beloved friend, Reverend Paula Zabkar, is our speaker today. The not so good news is on Friday she tested positive for COVID and can't come. So what she did is, this talk is hot off the press. She did it at her church in Wilmington, at the Wilmington Spiritual Soul Center on April 23rd. So she sent us the video of her talk. So let's just pause a moment, close our eyes, and let's send happy healing thoughts to Paula. And just see her restored, renewed, refreshed. Now I'm going to introduce you to her. She is a passionate teacher, inspiring speaker who walks her talk. She believes in using ancient and contemporary wisdom as a guide to living spiritually right here and right now. And her highest prayer is to inspire all of us to live an extraordinary life. She is the leader of Wilmington Spiritual Soul Center. She has a bachelor's degree in metaphysical science from the University of Metaphysics, is a licensed Unity teacher, and she is a life coach, and she is also an ordained minister. And let's roll that Paula footage, please.
I've been reading this book, 7,000 Ways to Listen, figuring it'll take me a while to get through this, but Mark Nepo is just really quite amazing. And this week, this is the thing, it never fails. When you have an awareness of things, how Cliff was talking about synchronicity, I just talk about awareness, like awareness of things that happen, things that show up in your life that you should pay attention to. He says there are two truths, two irrevocable truths in life. The first truth can be offered as the truth of things as they are. The truth of things as they are. And the second, as the experience of being human. He said, these have become my teachers, trying to accept the nature of what is and trying not to deny its impact. Are you hearing me? Are you thinking about your life right now? He says, like many of us, I have known centeredness as a calm and the experience of difficult feelings as forms of agitation. Right? So I'm either calm and centered or I'm agitated. Like many of us, I swing between these poles, needing to calm down when I get stirred up and wondering how long the calm will last before I get stirred up again. And like many of us, I've come to associate the lack of agitation, the lack of pain, the lack of confusion, the lack of anger with peace, and the presence of such agitation as being pulled into the tangle of the world. Don't you feel that way sometimes? I'm learning, though, that the absence of agitation alone is not necessarily peace. And that the presence of such difficult feelings does not necessarily mean we are off-center. Rather, the task of being fully alive challenges us to stay in the center while feeling the full range of life on earth. It's quite a task, he says, which I'm not sure how to do. Nonetheless, listening inside to these two teachers, the truth of things as they are and the experience of being human, here's where I find myself. Here's where I find myself. And I thought, isn't that curious? I was very curious about this, is how I can be in life with the way things are and still have the full human experience of whatever the pain, the frustration, the anxiety, the resistance is. Like, is that even possible? Is that even possible? I didn't know. I'm like him. I'm like, I didn't even know. But I do swing back and forth, thinking, well, I'm either calm, or like when in my car driving in traffic, I'm agitated. And then I'm calm, and then I'm agitated. Does that really have to be the way it is? Does it have to be the way it is? And I thought, the truth of the way things are, is that really called acceptance? Is that really non-resistance? I think it is. I think that's what it is. But acceptance doesn't mean celebration. Acceptance doesn't mean I celebrate it all. It also doesn't mean that I am resigned to whatever it is and I'm the victim. That's not what it means. It's not either one of those. Really, what acceptance means to me is that I don't become that. I don't become my frustration. I don't become my uncertainty. I don't become my hurt and my pain. I don't become that. I experience that, but I don't become it. You see the difference?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Somebody does. Like, I can live from my center and I can have this experience. It's not about pretending it's not there either, or pretending it doesn't hurt, or saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. It's not the rose-colored glasses thing. It's not that at all. It's just being able to be in it, but not be spit up, chewed up, and spit out by it. There's a difference in there. There's a difference in there. And so the center for me is peace. If I could be and I could walk around in peace with every step I take in all my life, that would be my center for me. And so the challenge is to have enough space to be the container that contains peace and pain, peace and agitation, peace and hurt, peace and uncertainty at the same time, to make myself a big enough container for both. I'm like, oh, okay. At the same time, not going and swinging from pole to pole, but make myself a big enough container for that. And I was thinking about people that I know or I perceive as being able to do that. And they're people that are heroes in my life. Do you have a hero in your life? Is there someone that you've read about or someone that you know personally in your life? Maybe it's even a family member. But like they are just my hero. And I think heroes are able to do, the heroes that, this is what they can do, is that they're a big enough container to contain both things at the same time. One of my heroes is Nelson Mandela. You know, he spent decades in prison. And, you know, I'm not going to go into his biography, we'd be here forever. But you know, I mean, he became president of South Africa. He addressed apartheid in South Africa. Nelson Mandela. He was able to hold pain and peace and possibility at the same time. I don't know how else he could have done it. I think the same is true of Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a escaped slave who went back numerous times to the South to rescue her family and others. And she said, I walk by faith, not by sight. You know, she had something in her. She had something in her. All that pain, all that effort, all that anxiety of being responsible for these people and carrying them to their freedom. I think both of those things had to be in there. Volodymyr Zelensky, I'm thinking from afar, just reading about the way he's handling his country's war in Ukraine, I think he falls in this category. How could he be? How else could it be? How else could it be that somehow peace and holding his center in him, he is able to do that while he deals with atrocities? Amazing, unfathomable atrocities. I think that both those, his container is big enough to hold that. You know who else's container is big enough to hold that I remembered this week? Is all the families of the people who were murdered in 2015 in the basement of Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. Almost every one of those family members publicly acknowledged their forgiveness of the gunman. Now, how is that possible? Unless your container was big enough to hold peace and pain at the same time, to hold peace and grief at the same time. I really think that this is the only healthy way that it can happen. Because otherwise, we get eaten up by it. We get destroyed by it. We get just annihilated by it because it's so painful. It's so hurtful. It's not denying that. It's being large enough of a container to contain it all, both. I was like, I don't know, but I never thought about it this way. Maybe Terry Mann's like, I know all this stuff, Paula. What's next? But how can I? Oh, I forgot a couple props. Oh, so that's okay. So how can I be peace in this? How can I be peace in this? How can I make my container big enough? Well, just so happens this week I had a personal experience of being able to do this, or being able to practice, or being able to consider doing this. Last week, I wore a bracelet. And it was kind of clunky down here, so I pushed it up here and I wore it right here all last Sunday. And on Sunday afternoon, I started to itch, like where that bracelet was. And by Monday, I had full-blown contact dermatitis. All right, see? Yeah. Contact dermatitis here. I was like, what in the world is happening to my body? Here's my go-to. I shared this yesterday with Coffee and Conversation. It's www.me. What's wrong with me? Right? What's wrong with me? There must be something wrong with me. How could this bracelet do this to my body? This is crazy. I judged myself for it right out of the gate. Can you see there's no peace? It itched like crazy. I wanted to just... This. It was terrible. It was terrible. And then I wanted to figure out, well, how am I going to get rid of this? I got to get rid of this. I got to find a way. There's got to be something I can do about this. Who can I call? Maybe Geraldine. She's done my homeopathy before. Maybe I should call Dr. Patel. Maybe she can I wanted to get rid of it. I told myself a story about how long it was going to last. And it was going to last a long time. And it was never going to get better. Right? There was no peace in any of this. Are you recognize this? There was pain. There was itch. There was judgment. There was judgment about it. I was like, it was driving me crazy. And then I wanted to pretend it wasn't there because I thought, well, if I pretend it's not there, maybe it'll go away. I'm so irrational. Maybe it'll go away. And I really don't want anybody else to know about it either, so I just won't say anything. Yeah, all these things. Until I read this and talked about my discomfort and how I could have discomfort, but I could be peace. And I thought, I wonder if that will work. I wonder if that could work with contact dermatitis from a resin bracelet that I've worn many times before, by the way, and never had this happen. Many times. But it happened this time. And so I sat in my chair as I do most mornings. Most mornings. And I sat with this idea. Could I be a big enough container to hold peace in this discomfort? Is that possible? And you know what? I found out it was. I found out I could. If I sat still, if I sat still long enough, I could make my container big enough. And I decided that, you know what this was? This was simply my body's reaction to a foreign substance. That's what it was. Didn't have to be emotional. Didn't have to try to fix it. Didn't have to pretend it wasn't there. I didn't have to figure out what was wrong with me. I simply had to recognize that that's what it was. It's still there. You can see it, right? Yeah, that's what it was. I had to sit in the chair. You know, it took a minute. Well, it took more than a minute. But it took some attention. It took some attention. And I started to feel like, oh, I can be peace in this. I can be peace in this. When it's really itching bad, I can be peace in this. When it's really hurting, I can be peace in this. It's possible for me to do that. I don't have to run from it. And it's possible because I practiced by sitting in meditation and considering. So I have a prop for you. Because this is what it felt like and looks like to me. What? You don't like it? See this right here? It's still here. It's itching. It's burning. It's hell going out in the sun. When I exercise and my blood pressure's going, it bubbles up. But I got this. I got this. I'm coming from here. I'm going to keep peace in me while I'm doing this. And I treated it. I treated it this week. I put cortisone 10 on it many times a day. I wrapped it in an ice pack because when I wrap it in an ice pack, the bubble, the stuff goes down, you know, the swelling goes down. It feels a lot better. When I went to get my mammogram this week, I even told the technician, I didn't try to hide it. I said, listen, I got this thing going on here, so be careful as you're placing me on this machine. Just so happens she has the same kind of thing going on. She's like, oh God, I get that all the time. You know, I'm allergic too. I'm allergic to bandage adhesive, and now I know I'm allergic to resin bracelets. You know those cute little bracelets you have, the Soul Center, the blue ones? I'm allergic to those too. Can't wear them anymore. Can't wear them anymore. Yeah. So I told her. And when I sleep at night, I sleep with this outside the covers, just so it has air on it, because it feels better to do that. So yeah, I'm treating it. And this here, right here, I'm just walking around like it. This is really my body, by the way. I laid on the floor and Renee traced me out. When she had my head, it looked like an alien. I said, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
And the feet were just nubs.
And the But I'll tell you what I felt like. I felt like a warrior. I felt like a warrior. You know, this is warrior work. This is the kind of warrior work. This is spiritual warrior work. You know, this took attention. It just didn't happen because I read Mark's 2 pages there. It just didn't happen. You know, I sat with it. The warrior work was sitting in the chair. It was not fighting this. It was not questioning why and judging myself for wearing that bracelet. You shouldn't have worn that bracelet, Paula. I didn't know. Why should I judge myself for that? It happened. This was my body's response to that. I'm not going to wear it again. I meant to bring it here to give it to somebody. So.
Auction it off.
No more. Yeah, auction it off. Yeah. This is the peace bracelet right here. But that's a warrior work. Don't let anybody tell you this work. You know, if you think this isn't hard work, try it. That's my advice to you. If you think this is easy, do it in your life. Identify the thing that's hurting you. Identify the pain in your life. And try to be a container big enough to hold peace with it. Big enough to walk as peace in it. Still feeling it. I'm still feeling it's not as itchy now as it's been. Happily. Not waking me up at night. Driving me crazy. I still don't like the dogs, you know, jumping on it though, because when they scratch it, ow, hurts. Worse. So why does it matter? Well, besides the obvious, that my life was much better this week, walking around like this, walking around peacefully inside, it was much different. I mean, ask Renee. I hope she didn't see the stress of it. I didn't walk around sourpussed and crunched up and, you know, mad about it and couldn't. I mean, I imagine that stuff would have went all over my body maybe if I were to be like that. But walking around with peace in there, well, it's happening. I got a little bit over here, but it's not so bad. And like, this is what happened. But even more than that, I think why it's so important is that it reminded me succinctly that I am greater than the physical nature of me. You know, it may sound even too cliche, but It brought me closer to the divine. It brought me closer to that place where things can't touch me the same way as they can in the outside. I mean, what about all of those men and women and children that survived the concentration camps during the Holocaust? I mean, how did that happen? I think they had to be walking around like this. They had to be walking around like this. With this inside. With this inside. Closer to the divine, closer to the truth of the spirit of them, the soul of them. That's what I think. And we can do that. I can do that with this. If I can do that with this, I can do it for something else. And if I can do it with this, you can do it for that. You can do it with that. Whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, psychological pain, hurt, uncertainty, name something. You can carry peace with that. It can be both. It doesn't have to be either or. So on Friday morning when I was writing this lesson, I have my cup of green tea in the morning, and then partway through the morning I have my cup of herbal tea. I drink yogi tea. I drink sweet clementine. And there's always a little message on the tea bag. Anybody drink yogi tea? So you know there's a little message. So my little tattoo here on my arm. This was the message on my tea bag that morning. Inner peace creates peace in the world. I'm like, okay, God, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it. And I changed it a little bit and said, inner peace creates peace in my world, in my intimate world, in the world that I walk in. That's what happened this week. So I had another reminder. And then just today, having breakfast before I came, flipping through Facebook a little bit. So here's the quote that I found as well. Each morning, peace arrives at your door in the form of choices. Okay, the choice to hold that. Not to ignore the pain. Don't hear that from me, please. Because it's real. This is real. It still is real. The pain you have is real. The uncertainty, the agitation, the judgment, all of it is real. And so is peace. That's the truth. I've proven it once to myself. Next week, we'll see. We'll see if it holds true.
Oh,
It's
who
still
made that song? Who made that?
me. I made this. What do you mean you made it?
Can I buy one?
Here, you can have
It's in front of my house.
it. It'll probably disintegrate pretty fast.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not, okay.
No, yeah. It's an interior only, yeah. It's not exterior grade. Only Beverly would want my sign. Do you get this? No matter what you're going, no matter what your pain, no matter what your struggle, no matter what it is, you all have one, 2, 3, how many ever you have. I have other ones, I'm just not talking about them today. We all have them. We can be the container. So let's take that into meditation this morning. I invite you to get comfortable. To breathe in and to breathe out, and be in your container. This is the container you have. This is what it looks like from the outside, but the container is not limited by our bodies. The container is whatever you decide it is. But I know it's bigger than your body. I know that it contains peace. That peace can be there in the midst of it all. Just as it was with Nelson and Harriet and Volodymyr, with all those families of the people who were murdered at Emmanuel AME Church. Your space, your container, and my container are big enough to hold it all at the same time. Let's know that for sure as we spend a few moments in meditation. When things get tough, remember that we are not building something small. We are building a palace of peace within our hearts. It takes determination and effort to complete something of such beauty and magnitude. Amen.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Beautiful. beautiful. Now it's time for our offering. You know, there are 3 ways that you can give to Unity Church of Raleigh. You can give here, you can click the secure donate button, the PayPal button on our website, or you can mail a check to the church. And we just thank you. Thank you for supporting UCR, your home for spiritual nourishment. So now let's take our gifts in our hands and give thanks that all good things come from God, affirming our offertory blessing. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, and all that I give and receive. So it is. Amen.
People say I'm crazy, doing what I'm doing. Well, they give me all kinds of warnings to save me from ruin. When I say that I'm okay, well, they look at me kind of strange. Surely you're not happy now, you no longer play the game. People say I'm lazy, dreaming my life away. Well, they give me all kinds of advice designed to enlighten me. When I tell them that I'm doing fine, just watching shadows on the wall. Don't you miss the big time, boy, you're no longer on the ball. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. I really love to watch them roll. No longer riding on the merry-go-round. I just had to let it go. People asking questions, lost in confusion. Well, I tell them there's no problem, only solutions. Well, they shake their heads and they look at me as if I've lost my mind. I tell them there's no hurry, I'm just sitting here doing time. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. You know I love to watch it roll. No longer riding on the merry-go-round. I just had to let it go. I just had to let it go. I just had to let it go.
Greg, that was awesome. Thank you. Elaine, you want to bring the offering up and let's bless it. Let's go within. What a wonderful day we're having. We say thank you, Lord, for this day and our many blessings. Thank you for these tithes and love offerings given both here and through our 3G automatic giving program. They are divine substance made real through faith, imagination, and belief. Thank you, God, for the truth we know. God within prospers us, and so we prosper others, bringing more love, light, and laughter to the planet. And so it is. Amen. Let's say together our Unity Prosperity Affirmation. Unity Church of Raleigh is a welcoming community, sharing love, joy, and spiritual growth with each other and the world through prayer, meditation, and the study of truth. Doug, what's going on?
Well, far be it from me to criticize Melanie, but you should have mentioned something about our membership forms. So they are in the back of the church. Fill them out, please. And if you don't fill them out, we're going to send you one in the email. And I was just kidding about criticizing you, Melanie. You know that. I am excited. I am so excited. Boy, I tell you, I'm excited because after church, it's pizza time. Then that's where we all get together and talk about what's happening in the church. And if you want to find out what's going on in this dynamic organization, please join with us. You don't have to be a member of a team, but you may feel that you want to join the church. So give it a try. What can you lose? Nothing, but you can gain a piece of pizza, that's for sure. Okay, and we also have coffee and tea and things like that. So let me see here. We have our Tuesday Heart-Centered Living Group, which meets at noon via Zoom and in person on Tuesday. There we are. It is time. I've told you about the membership form. Yes. June 10th is our homecoming event, a great event that starts at 4 o'clock till 7. It's on Saturday, June 10th, and the theme is Tropical Paradise. So it's a tropical paradise party. By the way, Alan, you do not have to wear your Speedo, but that's okay. We're having a barbecue dinner with all the trimmings, plus ice cream for dessert. Enjoy the music, $5 raffle, bingo for prizes, and best of all, it is free to everyone. I like that.
I feel like this
Yes.
could be a fundraising opportunity because I
Okay.
would pay money to see Alan in a Speedo.
Well, I don't know. I think Greg and I would pay money not to see Alan in the Speedos. I don't know. Yeah, right. One thing we lack in this church is unity. Laughter. Laughter. Unity we've got. Okay, so sign up to attend and donate. Sign up to donate a side dish. And there is one more week left to the peanut butter and jelly drive that we have for the North Carolina Food Bank's summer lunch program for children. That's what the peanut butter and jelly is there for. So bring your jars of peanut butter and jelly. Or you can do like me and forget them, and then you feel guilty all week until you forget next week. And last week's the next week I got to do this, so come on, Doug, you can do this. Unity. Check out Unity, the church, Unity Church of Raleigh.com for details on all of our activities that are coming up. And don't forget our Unity Holistic Wellness Center activities in May. They include Tai Chi on Mondays and Thursdays and yoga on Wednesday mornings. There is no Saturday workshop next Saturday. It is a holiday. And Vibe Up Today is on from 3 to 5 with Stacy, which is yoga, meditation, and a sound bath. And for fees and registration and so forth, check us out on the holisticwellnesscenter.org.com. And our Healing Circle prayer time is right after our service. And then, are we stacking the chairs today? We're stacking the chairs. Please don't drag them across our beautiful floor. We have things that we can move them with, dollies, I guess. I guess Dolly's here. I don't know. Where are you, Dolly? Okay. So, no kids today? Okay. And I guess, you've got the prayer for protection.
Everybody, thanks for coming out today. I know we're sad that Paula couldn't come, but I also know that we all think that was a really good message today. So, yeah, it was excellent. So I'm so glad that you chose to come out and be with your church family today. Amy, thank you for coming out. We're so glad to see you. And so let's remember to fill out our membership form, sign up for our free homecoming event, stay after for the teams meeting and hear what's going on. But most important of all, let's leave this church this day and let our light shine, knowing that the light of God, not a cult, the light of God surrounds us.
The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us.
The power of God protects us.
The presence of God watches over us.
The presence of God watches over us.
And wherever we are, God is.
Wherever we are, God is.
All is well.
And all is well.
Now let's stand and sing our prayer for the planet.
Thanks for getting the email on the same
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, unite and all are we. Yes, we love each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take this moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
We are loving awareness. We accept life exactly the way it is because we know we have a big enough container, contain all of life and our peace. Namaste. Okay, let's come forward and let's do our prayer circle. Yeah. You band folks want to join us, and the circle will be complete. Take your time. No rush. We're going to pray so we can relax. Prayer should be a relaxing time. There you go, Peggy. She's flowing into this. So this is the time when we pray for the folks who are in that box right there on the table. Everyone who submits their prayers, they submit them via email. We are getting prayers from our pastoral care calls. You will see that there are some of us wearing our purple stoles today. We are the members of the prayer ministry and are willing to pray with you for any need. We just love it. So now let's just take a big deep breath. And as Doug said before, and as Shawnice said, that is her affirmation, her go-to, we remember that there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in our lives and affairs, God the good. And we know that whatever is happening to us or through us and to the folks on our prayer list, it has no lasting power over them. God is greater and more enduring than anything that they may be facing right now. They are certain, they know, assured and confident that they have within them the power to feel the protecting presence of God at any time and at all times. And so right now, they do. And let's just speak the names of those folks who are in our minds and on our hearts, either silently or into the circle, and just wrap them in our prayer presence. Earl and Mom, Ellen and Shannon, Morgan and her search, and all of us, this church. We like to say that we are a church where love can do all things, and it is true. So right now, we boldly and gladly set free our love. to heal, to guide, to comfort, to prosper, and to lift up. And so it is. Amen. Pizza time. Let's move the chairs and let's have some pizza.